Good evening. Welcome to the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. Well, elections are over, although we're still waiting on a lot of results to come in. And I want to give you a little bit of a reminder. As the media, the mainstream media, now we have this political election story going on. And it seems that everybody's forgotten about this deal with Hunter Biden and Joe Biden and all the things that they were guilty of through the exposure, through their business dealings with Ukraine and China. And everybody seems to be ignoring that right now. This deal has never been dealt with. And I still believe that the American people do not want a corrupt president straight off the bat. We already know he's corrupt. Very clear. It's already been made clear that he has been corrupt through his family, through his brother, through his son. But today, Attorney General Bill Barr, or at least yesterday, I believe, presented the case before the Department of Justice, and the Department of Justice did decide to take on the case. It said that there's a possible leak or problem with a system called the Dominion, or some call it the Hammer. And this system may have been activated by one person or a few people in regard to shifting the things in the computer regarding the election. And remember, I told you on one of my reports that I believe that these things are possible. You deal with computers, that means you can deal with people changing numbers and changing figures, and somebody can hack into a computer, which we find out now that they have a system that the government uses to prevent tampering with elections from foreign entities outside of the U.S. And it's called, some call it a Hammer and some call it Dominion, maybe two different systems. It is a powerful computer system, and is used in cases dealing with other countries and trying to interfere in our voting system or election. So there is something out there that is doing those types of things. Well, the Democrat Party wants us to lie down and do nothing about these irregularities we are looking at in the Republican Party. They want Republicans to be do nothing as Democrats are do nothing. In the year 2000, let me remind you, and I put this out yesterday, in the year 2000, Al Gore was declared the president-elect by the media again, only to be proved 37 days later that he lost the race to eight-year term President George Bush. They were premature about Gore, and they are premature about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They accused President Trump of rushing the confirmation of a Associate Justice Barrett, and that was his legal right under the Constitution. Yet Fox News was calling the election way before final numbers were out, and they called California before they called Florida, and Florida President Trump won. Why did he call the state that Joe Biden won in? So, Fox News, you're in for a rude awakening in the coming years. As we keep going along this path, you might think the conservatives have forgotten, but we see what's going on. There's certain reporters there are not bad, like Hannity and Tucker Carlson and Lou Dobbs, people like that. But I think they should suffer something for trying to circumvent the legal election process by trying to insist and determine somebody has been elected and they haven't been elected. They need to leave things alone until legal totals have been gathered together. Now, I don't know if MSNBC has done anything yet, but I think that they, at the time I checked yesterday, day before yesterday, they hadn't done anything yet or announced anything. But I saw the numbers and they were all over the place. Some people had President Trump at 268 electors. With me, he was only 2 away from winning. And all of a sudden, everything shifted around. And I believe it was Fox who did that. And they shifted around. All of a sudden, you got Joe Biden now with 279 and President Trump with 214. Give me a break. You can look at the map and see that's a big lie. All the red states that went to Trump, and you're saying he only has 200 electoral votes? Give me a break. I saw numbers all over the place, and Fox kept President Trump at 214, 213 one time, then came back, and they still had him only at 214. Well, we're going to take a break right now. We'll be right back with you here once again on the Black Conservative Voice. I'm David Colbert. Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert. I know you probably heard in the news that there is a Supreme Court is beginning, I think it's on Veterans Day, that they're going to be discussing the Affordable Care Act and the possible fact that parts of it is unconstitutional. This act was put together by constitutional law professor Brian Obama. And we will see. The final ruling is expected to start taking effect in June if they scrap the Affordable Care Act, which I hope and pray they do. The thing has done nothing but cause problems for the majority of American people. Maybe some people didn't receive any problems about it, but the majority of us did. Democrat Party members are infighting with each other over these losses that they faced in the elections in the Senate and in the House of Representatives. They're acting like elementary school students and middle school students. Nancy Pelosi's pouting, and AOC, she's happy because she's a far left radical anyway. They need to get these people out of the party. Until they get them out, until they calm them down, they're going to have issues. I believe the Democrats need new leaders. They need new leadership in the House and in the Senate. These jerks that they have operating the House and the Senate, the leaders, they need to remove them. Have enough sense, Democrat Party, to vote those leaders out. Give somebody else an opportunity to sit there in a speaker seat instead of Nancy Pelosi. She may have money and power, but don't allow her to push you around. She's trying to get votes now so she can get back to the Speaker of the House come January. But the people are fed up with Nancy Pelosi and her foolishness, and also with Chuck Schumer. The same old. Chuck Schumer, to me, is an embarrassment to my people, which means the Jewish people. I can't believe him. They push too far to the left, trying to change this nation into a socialist nation. In the next 2 years, we need to see more compromise in the House by the Democrats. If they refuse, I believe the Republicans Party will take control of the House in 2022. They will take control of the House. If the Democrat Party does not straighten out their issues with the House of Representatives regarding Nancy Pelosi and Schumer, of course, he's got a few more years or whatever. Hopefully they'll remove him too. Please let me know in the comments what you think and what thoughts you are thinking about the election irregularities. That are they significant or too significant to ignore, or just we should just accept them? I don't believe in just accepting stuff that's obviously illegal or irregular. I saw the projected acceptance speaking by Joe Biden, and now he has conceded to wait for everything to be finalized before he moves forward saying anything else in any other conferences or anything else. He truly, if he has truly won, he is wise in doing so and just being quiet and let whatever play out. But everyone, I don't know how many countries, I'm sure Iran is happy about this. China's probably dancing in the streets. But everyone from Germany to Pakistan have been giving Joe Biden premature congratulations on his election. That, of course, has been undetermined. It's an undetermined victory. And hold your horses, especially in Pakistan. Prime Minister Imran, You need to deal with the child rape problem you have in your country. The child rapists running around your streets stealing Christian babies and raping them, trying to convert them to Islam. You need to deal with that issue in your country. And I believe us as Americans, we need to come and help you deal with it. I'm not talking about a man. He's a man that's always talking about, and also Biden, Joe Biden. I mean, it was creepy. I don't know if anybody else felt creepy about the statement that he keeps slipping in there. He keeps slipping this thing in there. What was he turned on by this? This is foolishness. Oh, this young child came up and she just grabbed my leg and held on to my leg. He keeps bringing this up. Anybody else notice that? Why do you keep bringing about some child grabbing hold of your leg? Anyway, this thing dealing in Pakistan in a hurry to just go ahead and congratulate Joe Biden because they know if Trump stays in there, they're not going to get what they're hoping for. But they're figuring that they can get this sucker that has been said to have been placed into the presidency. If we can get him pretty much to do anything. I'm sure Iran and China is also feeling the same way, that they can make it go their direction. Well, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with you in a moment here on the Black Conservative Voice. I'm David Colbert. Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network. Our president here in America, President Donald J. Trump, has been called all kinds of things. They call him a racist. They say he's a homophobe. He's a xenophobe. By the Democrats, they're doing this. They call him all kinds of things. And everybody else, and I don't know if the LGBT community understands or knows these facts. I'm pretty sure if they're paying attention, they do know that in these countries like Pakistan and several other Arab-run countries, they kill homosexuals. We're not intentionally sending the government out and soldiers out killing homosexuals. They kill homosexuals and let child rapists run free. This is a big problem, especially in Pakistan. There's a great protest going on right now by Christians because of the majority of those children are Christian children. Imagine if your child here in America was taken and forced to marry a man in his 30s and his 40s, and she's only 13 years old, and they lie saying she's another age. Now, they've dealt with the situation because a lot of pressure has been brought on by the Christian community. But that doesn't stop the fact that these things are still going on there in that country. And here in America, we're not exempt as well. We have human trafficking going on left and right. Children being picked up and sold into different countries as slaves. And even women, young women, being taken from this country and bought over the border to be slaves to other wealthy people maybe in those countries, whatever. But these things are going on, and human trafficking is starting to kick up. And like I believe that a lot of stuff is going on because they think they're under misconception that Joe Biden is the president. He's not the president. President Trump is still president. And President Trump also came out and said, look, I'm president no matter what until January 20th. No matter what, I'm president until January 20th. So whatever I want to do between now and then is up to me what I want to do. So we have no idea what President Trump is going to even be doing, even if they don't place him, if they don't show that he is a winner, which I believe he is. I don't really believe 140 million people got out and voted. I really don't. That's half of this country. I don't think so. Because some people in this country are children. The sheer numbers of this thing is just pure foolishness. It's not even, I don't believe it's even that many registered voters in this nation. 140 million. It only took 63 million to elect President Donald J. Trump. I don't believe there's 140 million voters. 144 million with all these numbers they're trying to tout around. We as Americans need to look into and protect the children of the world, around the world. We have commercials on about helping children and stuff like that, but we need to be aware of the pedophilia and the perversions that are going on in some of these nations around the world that claim that they're of a certain faith. They're raping children, and they're forcing people to turn to their religion. You see Christians doing that? Now, granted, we see some things that have happened in our culture, but these people are not in the mainstream Christianity. And that are those who are polygamous or whatever. And they're having children, marriage, and stuff like that. I don't agree with that. I don't believe I ever will agree with it because I don't believe it's something that God would have us to do. But we need to do something about this. But this has been an interesting time here in America with all these things that have been going on. I believe we would have a totally different election. There's a lot of people, I've realized something going around. I was asking people about different things. Some people depend on all their news from the news media, the mainstream media. And if the mainstream media don't pull it out, then they don't see it and they don't believe it. And the mainstream media knows this. That some of people are addicts for NBC, ABC, MSNBC, or all these different places. And they watch those and they don't pay attention to the truth that's going on. Some stations, well, very few stations, one American News reported on Hunter Biden's illegalities and the way that he was dealing in the Ukraine and with China, and they covered up in the mainstream media. So you could ask some people about it, and if they had received this information before they voted, they may not even, those that even voted for Biden, may well not even voted for Biden. But because they had the lack of information, a lot of them may have voted for him, not knowing the corruption that he's involved in. But I guarantee you, regardless of what the results are, I guarantee you that there are going to be hearings on Hunter Biden. Joe Biden's going to have to come in as well. He's not the president yet. He's going to have to come in and he's going to give testimony about what was going on. He should, because every freaking body else must come in, especially conservatives and Republicans. They got to come in and say what happened. They brought in, what's the guy's name? Bannon. They brought Bannon in, had to hear what he had to say. They arrested him, took him in. Well, we need to arrest Joe Biden and bring him in and find out what his excuses is on the behaviors of his son and of his brother. Why are we avoiding this? The scripture says that in these times, that people will be calling darkness light and light darkness. And we see it so clearly with our president, President Donald J. Trump. They are saying that he's dark. They said the dark winter is ended. And I don't know if anybody heard this. I believe it's some kind of deep state thing that they're using. The dark winter is ended. Yes, there's no dark winter because President Trump only did good for this nation for the time he was in there. No, he might not be the best guy around or the most calm person there is, but I've seen him grow even in the office as president. He's handled things differently than he did when he first started out. And right now, as far as I can see, he is the one that is for the American people. I haven't heard President projected elected or whatever, what you want to call it, projected President Biden, whoever he is. I haven't heard him yet say anything really about what he's going to do for the people. I hear him saying this a little, he didn't even barely say anything in this little speech he gave. I was like, what is he talking about? He couldn't even pull together a general sentence. And like I told you before, the reason why Nancy Pelosi was talking about the 25th Amendment, about declaring a president incompetent, because they knew that they had an incompetent candidate. They wanted him to run and become president so that Nancy Pelosi could elevate Kamala Harris and then come back behind her as a new vice president, having a black president, dark-skinned president who was Indian, and another lady vice president. This is what her vision is on her before she leaves this earth, to be the vice president of the United States. But it's not going to happen, Nancy. That scam that y'all got going on with this election that's out here now, it's going to be overturned. It's already seen, Biden's already losing points in different states because the true numbers are coming in. And those ballots that have been illegally, and there's going to be more ballots determined illegal, because you got people that were supposed to be poll watchers. They weren't allowed to come in and look at the votes at all in Pennsylvania, the Republican poll watchers. What about the Democrats? I have no idea. I guess they were okay with it. But they made fun of our people in Michigan and in Pennsylvania. There was statements of illegality going on in several states, and you probably heard it in the news already, some of you. They may have hit it in some of the other news, but they had people in there saying that they were told to predate ballots that came in late and were not there. And according to the Supreme Court, if it comes in after the date, it should not be counted. And they had all these votes pop up at the end. They had votes for President Trump, hundreds of thousands of votes, they're sitting on the side, not even being counted. This whole thing, as I said earlier this week, last week, it stinks to the high heaven. You know, a lot of this garbage, and I'm glad it's being brought forth, and President Trump is going to get to the truth, Democrats. He is going to get to the truth, and you better pray that none of you else are linked to it, because somebody in that Democrat Party pulled a lever on that Dominion computer, or whatever they call it, the hammer, and did some stuff to that computer, trying to keep former Vice President Biden ahead of President Trump. Now, back in 2016, they fought against us, talking about that the election was stolen from them by Donald Trump. But Donald Trump's a duly elected president. He wasn't even in there. How can he steal anything? He had no knowledge of what was going on. He was the first time running for any office. Yet they accused him back then. And now they're trying to say, oh, be calm, just accept what's going on. Yeah, the Democrats want you to accept this, accept that. But I'll tell you right now, we ain't accepting nothing, you Democrats. Nothing. We ain't accepting your garbage, your push-in of Joe Biden. And if Joe Biden gets in there, he's going to be pretty much a lame duck. He might as well go back and take a nap in his basement, because we have control of the Senate and we have almost control of the majority in the House of Representatives, and we've had people that will come over to our side in the House of Representatives. If they keep this split going on, we're going to have more Democrats on our side, and a lot of Democrats, if you keep pushing to the left like you are with AOC and all her gang, then you're going to find that a lot of the Democrats are going to come on and convert to the Republican Party, and we may have control of the Republican House before the second term. Because if some of those Democrats, if they got any sense, they need to run. Because that party has gone to corruption. They're telling lies. They're trying to impeach duly elected presidents. They're calling President Trump, they've been calling President Trump an illegitimate president from the very beginning. Yet when they did all their recounts and everything else, it proved that President Trump won the race. There was no irregularities. There may have been some things that were strange in some of the other states, like Pennsylvania always has some strange things going on. But they still proved that President Trump won. He didn't fight for anything. He just sat back and waited for the results. And Joe Biden, I appreciate him saying that he's just going to wait. He's talking about his party and who's going to elect to do this and whatever. But Joe, just relax. We're going to find out where the lies are, and they're going to be revealed. And even if we don't find it out in time to shift things over, we're going to find it out eventually. President Trump has another month and a half, and our legal teams will find out what's going on. And as we said earlier, Al Gore was president for a day, 37 days, and he was unseated as the president-elect by President George W. Bush. So we look for the similar things to happen in this case, but by the recounting these votes, it's already showing that some of the votes were deception in Arizona, and I need to check on it, but I'm sure that some numbers have already changed already in the election race. Well, I want to thank you for joining us here on the Black Conservative Voice. We'll be right back with you tomorrow here on the CTM News Network, the Voice of Truth.